Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you my thoughts on something that came across my timeline. So I saw this video by Farfa that came up, and I promise I watched it in its entirety. I don't know why the red bar isn't all the way there. But I haven't touched Yu-Gi-Oh in years. But I did see this piqued my interest. Why? Because I used to fucking hate Ash Blossom. It genuinely turned me away from the game. And I'm not even just being like, just for views, oh, exaggerate. No, like, seriously, this turned me away from the game. So obviously that means that I would love to see that it got banned, right? Quite the opposite, actually. So we all know what Ash Blossom does. When a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, you can discard this card, negate that effect, add a card from the deck to the hand, special summon from the deck, send a card from the deck to the graveyard. My problem with Ash Blossom is that way back when, times of old, uh, it tackled everything, right? It tackled everything. And it felt like shit to go against, and especially if you didn't have it in your hand yourself. And at a time, we're talking, mind you, just for the record, of I haven't really touched Yu-Gi-Oh since college, a little bit post college, and I am well out of college. Okay, just a heads up, right? I graduated in 2020, so for me to still have strong opinions about this card from there, insane, right? But one of the main things was trying to get other people into Yu-Gi-Oh! And telling them that essentially, and you're like, you just taught them wrong, and that's true, right? Like, I definitely not a pro teacher, but the problem is once people start learning something, they want to try against other people, not just you. And going on to when did Dueling Book shut down? I don't remember, but like Dueling Book or Edo Pro or like Wago Pro, any of those, you run into the situation of like, hey, what's Ash Blossom? I'm like, yeah, you're going to need three of those if you want to play the game. And back at the time, mind you, I see that now, moderately played unlimited, $10.50, so 31.50 for a playset. That's not great to tell people of like, hey, you start playing the game with three copies of this, $31.50, and then you still have to find 37 other cards. Yeah, not great, right? But back at the time, Ash Blossom was a bit more expensive because there were a lot less reprints. So you're looking at $100 around that part for playset because everybody wanted it and it's secret rare and da 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 da, right? So you have all that going on. But coming back to Ash Blossom, why I hated it and why I don't hate it anymore. And don't know, now mind you, I don't know if it needs a ban nowadays or not anyway. I'm just giving my 2 cents because it's my YouTube channel. I get to talk about what I want to, the same way you get to tweet what you want to or post what you want to, right? I do this on my YouTube channel. But the problem wasn't that Ash Blossom was so overpowered. It was everything else, right? It wasn't just a bad experience to show my friends or whoever else that I was trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh that like what the game is. It's that hey, you need this card. So when you're playing the game, if this happens to you, yeah, it's going to probably shut down your entire deck because you're playing something off meta like Subterrors or so Madolche, right? You're playing something a little bit funky, and on the contrary, it's going to suck to not have it because your opponent might just play something that hey, it might be off meta. They might be playing Dinomorphia or hell, Labyrinth piqued my interest. Maybe they're playing Labyrinth, Eldritch, those type of decks, any of that shit. Um, but you take a somebody that's going against Tier Elements or Zodiac. The end board was the same. It was some form of Crystal Wing, Synchro Dragon, Baron de Fleur. Everybody ended on the same fucking cards. And if you didn't stop that turn one, you just lost. It was done. It was cooked. And every deck had something that if you didn't open up with Ash Blossom, it was cooked. I don't know if it still does, and I assume it still does, right? Power creep is a hell of a drug. But that's kind of where it came from. So at the time, before, frontal lobe was fully formed, I'm sitting there like, damn, Ass Blossom is ruining my gaming experience. I need to buy it. I need to have it in every deck. And it feels even worse if you're somebody like me, that you play off meta stuff and you want to play the off meta thing. You want to play the archetype for itself. I want a pure deck. I don't consider tech cards from a series to go into the archetype. It's like, why am I playing Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring in my Ghost Trick deck? Yeah, it's a zombie. Yeah, it's level 3. But it doesn't say Ghost Trick on the card. They have, you know how many cards are in Ghost Trick that I can just make a 60 card deck that I used to run? But I can't play the deck anymore because I'm either going to get Ash Blossomed or I can't play the game because I don't have Ash Blossom. So, while I was watching again, looking through Farfa's video and seeing what everybody's talking about, some of the old things come up. It's like, oh, there's a branded player here talking about it. There's a guy that only plays, the most combo heavy meta decks or whatever right here. And, I'm aware of both of those people, but again, it's been some time, so I don't know how they're faring nowadays. But once you go past tournament results, it's just playing the game against another person in general that this card needs to come up in conversation. But it isn't that you need to get rid of this card, I don't think, right? Now, mind you, again, I haven't touched the game. You could be like, what do you think? Because you haven't touched the game. You're wondering what the fuck a Mulcharmy is, right? That's true. But the same way I carry this on when I do other game balance discussions for things like Warhammer 40K or Valorant or uh, Deadlock. When I'm thinking about balance and game design and all these other things, there's a there's things that still relate and come up to be a problem. And where when you feel like a card has such a control over everything, the problem is that you don't have enough of it more often than not. You don't have more Ash Blossoms. That's why this one is still $10. That's why these things happen. It's because you don't have other solutions. It's the only solution to a problem at a larger state. So while one character might feel overpowered, and then one character comes out to counter, quote unquote, the overpowered thing instead of just nerfing the overpowered thing, it's, well, out of your roster of 20, one of them stands above the rest, one of them directly counters that other thing. But what about the other 18? Does the counter have a counter to the counter? So then you're back to square one? Like, you need to play this web of things if there needs to be many of the situation for you to actually have a healthy state of the game. So, it wasn't Ash Blossom, as much as I vexed its existence way back when I was like, man, fuck this card. The thing that ultimately led me to not playing as much is realizing that the state of the game was just fucked. It's just fucked. It was just fucked. I don't know what it is now. And through my time of going in and out of Yu-Gi-Oh, I've seen people talk about adding a mana resource. That way you can't just do it. But they tried that shit with links, and we all fucking hated it. They tried it with pendulum summoning, and we all fucking hated it, right? And I still don't think that's the way to go. Where it's like, no, in order for you to bring out your board, you need to make another link. But then, because of the natural progression of things, the link decks that come out are just going to be better at it than any other mechanic. The pendulum decks that come out are just going to be better at it than any other mechanic. So when you have these things like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, you need more of it. Instead of banning the only solution, you need more of the solution. The same way that you have your archetypal Solemn, your counter trap that comes out. And by the way, like, I used to play shit. I talked about Ghost Trick, liked Labyrinth, was warming up to Eldritch. But Magical Musketeer was probably my next best one, right? Uh, Had friends that played Fable. Well, I played Fable. Had friends that played Dark World. Uh, just for context of things, Nephthys, Fire King. Everything else has a unique thing. The same way that you're getting like those solemns in the deck, you need an Ash Blossom in the deck. That's really what I would have expected to be the progression of things. Because Konami isn't making the retail value, or the resale value, excuse me. They're printing out the card so that you buy the set when it gets reprinted finally. And that's how you get the product from them. But they're not making $10 a pop off the card. They're making money off of you trying to get the card, but now with things like TCG Player and whatever else, because apparently, last I checked, we're not using TCG Player. I don't remember. But things like that. There, there's other ways to get this card now. So what would be smart out of Konami is to make more of them so that you have a power limiter on your game. Now, again, I haven't kept up. I don't know what the last, excuse me, YCS has. I don't know what's topping anymore. But I can only imagine after post tier element type shit, it's something that's annoying as hell to go against. That when you say, "Hey, I'm bringing something off meta," and my definition is bringing 2024 Magical Musketeer cards, and your definition of off meta is instead of bringing Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and three, you brought two. Like that. Come on now. Come on now. And then you're joining the tables talking about, oh, it's off meta. I only have two, not three, right? Or whatever it's sitting at right now. Maybe you brought one instead of it being unlimited or whatever the hell it might be right now. Haven't checked. But I say all this to say, on my YouTube channel where I get to post my opinion, that if you're like me and you've absolutely hated Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, I don't think a ban is the solution. Because it's usually not often the solution in these type of things. The solution is having more of them. So I know, or I used to know. I don't imagine it's changed much, but Konami doesn't typically listen that much. They don't, or they didn't. That's another thing that was just like, well, I'm out of here. Okay. But if they are more receptive to feedback now, you don't need just an Ash Blossom reprint. You need more Ash Blossoms. You need archetypal Ash Blossoms. You need inexpensive Ash Blossoms to put a limit on the game from, it's the same end board that I've seen a million times, no matter what deck is playing it, whether it be branded, whether it be tier elements, they've made the end board. It needs to be something different to do similar things. It's kind of ridiculous that out of the what, millions of cards by now that have been printed, that Ash Blossom is still in the conversation. It's in the conversation because there's no more Ash Blossom, not just because of how good it is. Well, yes, it's because it's good how it is, but again, not only because of that. It's because when all things fail, you have to pull out Ash Blossom. You need more Effect Veilers. You need more Ash Blossoms. You need more Solemns. That's why Solemn isn't as special, because there's several Solemns. You don't want to run Solemn Judgment, run your archetypal Solemn Judgment if you have it, right? If not, then run Solemn. But Ash Blossom needs to be the same way. You need a hand trap that does what Ash Blossom does without saying Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. And then you could let people do what they do, where they either put it into every deck, like what Farfa had in their Christian Halka where they then find a way to splash it in everywhere, or you just have several, and then Konami, you've made your money, and then the game is playable. But that again is just from somebody that hasn't looked at it for a number of years, and truthfully, due to life things, don't think that I would be able to get back into it right now. But yeah, Ash Blossom. It's funny to see that even in 2026, the discussion of banning it is back on the cards. But dum, no pun intended. But yeah, if anything here is worth it to you, I'd say probably leave it while it is. You just need more of them. So yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment from me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.